So, in a mind-bending tale that challenges the boundaries of time and space, one man has suddenly emerged claiming to have voyaged to the year 3906. What he witnessed there defies imagination, offering a glimpse into a distant future where technology, society, and the very foundation of existence have undergone unimaginable transformations. So, what does the world of 3906 look like, and what secrets does the future hold for our species? Join us as we unravel the mysteries of a journey to the year 3906. In 1924, Paul Amadeus Dienach, while teaching the German language in Greece, was grappling with tuberculosis and harbored a fervent desire to return to his homeland in Switzerland. In light of his deteriorating health, he entrusted his extensive handwritten notes, comprising hundreds of pages, to his favored language student, Georgios Papahatsis. Dienach intended that the translation of these notes would aid Papahatsis in his pursuit of German language studies. They bid farewell, unaware that it would be their final meeting. As Papahatsis commenced the translation process, he encountered unexpected content within the pages. The notes revealed comprehensive passages discussing a prophesied nuclear conflict, the prospect of colonizing Mars, the establishment of a global government, and insights into flying vehicles, holographic technology, and contact with extraterrestrial life. Initially dismissing the material as science fiction, Papahatsis underwent a gradual realization as the text unfolded. Astonishingly, what he believed to be a work of fiction turned out to be Dienach's diary. Within its pages, Dienach chronicled a remarkable experience, his descent into a coma in 1921 and subsequent awakening in the year 3906. It became apparent that Dienach had undergone a peculiar time slip, spending an entire year in the distant future, capturing every detail he encountered. Dienach's writings presented a chronicle of his extraordinary journey through time. This is how it all started. In May 1921, during one of Paul Den's instructional sessions in his college language class, he began experiencing a bout of dizziness. Notably, Dienach had a history of health issues, and this instance led to his eventual hospitalization. Subsequently, he succumbed to a severe fever, causing intermittent lapses into unconsciousness. During these episodes, Dienach perceived the presence of various individuals surrounding him, yet his weakened state prevented effective communication. Upon regaining consciousness, he found himself in an unfamiliar hospital room, surrounded by people donning peculiar attire and conversing in an unfamiliar language. Being a language teacher, Dienach recognized a few words resembling English and Swedish. Attempting communication proved futile, as no one comprehended his attempts. Eventually, a doctor identified his language and endeavored to communicate using a fragmented form of German. The doctor introduced himself as Andreas Noram, a renowned physics professor who had encountered an accident. Perplexed, Dienach expressed unfamiliarity with the name Andreas Noram. To clarify, he was presented with a mirror revealing a visage foreign to him. This revelation elicited visible distress in Dienach, prompting tears and an emotional outburst. He grappled with the belief that he might be deceased or perhaps suffering from profound mental disturbance. In desperation, Dienach asserted his identity as a modest language teacher from Switzerland, expressing bewilderment at the unfolding circumstances. The mention of Switzerland prompted a reaction from the medical staff, leading to inquiries about the current year. To this, Dienach confidently stated that it was 1922. A palpable silence enveloped the room as the older physician stepped forward, revealing that the actual year was 3906. Dienach, skeptical and disbelieving, gazed out of the window to witness a surreal landscape with towering buildings piercing the clouds and gravity-defying vehicles whizzing by. Overwhelmed by this alien reality, Dienach succumbed to unconsciousness once again. After 3 days of vigilant observation, Dienach exhibited signs of recovery, gaining enough strength to ambulate. He vividly described his surroundings, recounting walls crafted from crystal offering a panoramic vista and objects fashioned from warm pastel-colored glowing metal. Guided through a corridor, he arrived in a spacious room where he encountered 2 venerable figures adorned in white robes. Initially perceived as priests or kings, they were referred to as electors, with an eye embodying the role of sagacious elders. Until this juncture, medical professionals had attributed Dienach's experiences to potential brain trauma, dismissing the notion of him hailing from a bygone era. However, upon thorough questioning by the electors, they came to believe Dienach's extraordinary tale. The electors possessed knowledge of a rare psychic phenomenon termed a consciousness shift, wherein an individual's mind or soul could undergo transference into another person's body. In Dienach's case, they speculated that during an accident involving Andreas Noram, whose body Dienach was purportedly inhabiting, Noram experienced clinical death for 15 minutes. Medical interventions, including brain cooling and subsequent heart reactivation, marked the turning point. The electors postulated that it was during this critical juncture that a personality shift occurred, transporting the consciousness of Paul Dienach into the body of Andreas Noram and catapulting him 2,000 years into the future. Dienach explores the concept of consciousness transcending linear time and discovers that, according to the electors, everyone's consciousness exists simultaneously throughout time and space. This rare event prompts the summoning of a man named Stefan. Stefan, privy to the true identity of Andreas Noram, a close friend of his, is tasked with helping Noram regain his memories to reverse a personality shift. The plan is for Paul Dienach to assume Noram's life while Stefan imparts modern societal knowledge to Dienach. Stefan agrees to visit Dienach daily to educate him about contemporary society. However, Dienach, who had been living in the future for 2 weeks, is more intrigued by the past. In the 1920s, Dienach suffered from encephalitis lethargica, also known as sleeping sickness. While people with this condition typically experience difficulty speaking, moving, and staying awake, Dienach in the future never sleeps. Despite spending nights reading books and learning the new language, he remained alert and never felt tired. Dienach utilized a modern learning device called the Oregonschwager, described as a handheld device with moving three-dimensional images that glow in the dark, accompanied by sound, music, and narration reminiscent of an iPad. Encouraged by his doctors to learn about anything from the past, Dienach was restricted from studying the 20th century to prevent potential alterations of historical events. The years spanning from 2000 to 2300 present significant challenges for humanity. Overpopulation and regional conflicts emerge as major issues. By 2204, we successfully colonized Mars, and over the next 60 years, the population on the red planet grows to 20 million. However, in 2265, a planet-wide catastrophe, possibly a large impact event, occurs, wiping out the entire Martian colony. Subsequent attempts at colonization are abandoned. In 2309, a medium-scale nuclear war devastates most of Europe, leaving only the Baltic and Scandinavian countries relatively unscathed. This event likely explains the English-Scandinavian hybrid language spoken in the region. The war is global and lasts for 80 years, leading to the decimation of a significant portion of the human population. In 2396, a new world government named REDST is established, marking the end of the ancient period of history and the beginning of modern history. This one-world government, formed to halt the global war, is characterized by corruption and is controlled by the wealthy and powerful. Despite resistance from countries with strong local nationalism, REDST persists for about 200 years. Eventually, citizens stop electing politicians and businessmen, and higher offices are held by scientists, philosophers, and humanitarians, bringing a shift toward a more rational and humane. That night, as Paul felt his eyes grow heavy, he wondered if he would finally find peace and sleep, missing this feeling for so long. Ultimately, Andreas Noram, the character from 1922, awoke from a year-long coma, marking the conclusion of this intricate and interconnected tale. The account of Paul Amadeus Dienach raises questions about whether his story is true or if it's a made-up tale for financial gain. One possibility is that Dienach's story is based on real events where he claims to have experienced paranormal events that transported him 2,000 years into the future. In his 300-page book, he provides intricate details about names, places, and dates, discussing futuristic technologies like cryonics, the internet, flying vehicles, teleportation, and something similar to a hole. These details add credibility to his account. During his coma state, Dienach believed he was living in reality, unaware that it was a complex web of vivid dreams. The possibility of dreaming during a coma depends on the brain's condition, and if Dienach dreamt for a year, it could explain his detailed vision of a future world. An alternative theory suggests that Paul Amadeus Dienach might be a fictional character, and his entire existence could be a fabrication. This theory raises doubts about the credibility of the narrative, prompting a critical examination of the events described in the book. Despite the limited popularity of Paul Dienach's story, it has gained attention on online platforms like blogs, podcasts, and videos. One interesting detail across these outlets is the use of a specific photo in the thumbnail. What often goes unmentioned is that this image is a mugshot of Daniel Tohill, who faced theft charges in New Zealand in 1908. Moreover, Dienach supposedly resided in Zurich during the 1920s, a period not too distant in history. However, meticulous city records from that time in both Zurich and Athens, where Dienach claimed to be teaching, reveal no trace of an individual by that name or anything resembling it. Georgios Papahatis, the translator and publisher of the story, asserted his unsuccessful attempts to locate Dienach in later years. He attributed this difficulty to Dienach's alleged service for Germany in World War I, during which he purportedly changed his name upon relocating to neutral Switzerland, leaving his true identity shrouded in uncertainty. Adding to the intrigue, the original handwritten diary that supposedly chronicled Dienach's extraordinary experiences is mysteriously missing. According to Papahatis, during the wartime period in Greece, his residence underwent a search by the military, resulting in the seizure of the German language notes. Regrettably, they were never returned, raising suspicions about the circumstances surrounding their disappearance. The situation becomes even more dubious when considering parallels between Dienach's narrative and H.P. Lovecraft's work, specifically The Shadow Out of Time. Lovecraft's tale, written in a first-person diary format, details a protagonist who falls into a coma and awakens at a different time. While Dienach's account places him in the future, Lovecraft's hero experiences a similar temporal displacement but in the past. The similarities have not gone unnoticed, with some suggesting that Dienach's story may have been influenced by Lovecraft's work. Given that The Shadow Out of Time was published in 1936, this raises questions about the timeline, casting doubt on the authenticity of Dienach's purported experiences in the 1920s. The convergence of these details prompts skepticism about the veracity of the entire narrative, leading some to question whether Dienach was indeed a real person or if the story is, in fact, an elaborate hoax. Georgios Papahatis was a highly esteemed law professor and intellectual, having served as a jurist on Greece's Council of State, which is akin to their Supreme Court. His expertise spanned administrative law, social studies, and humanities, a testament to his serious and scholarly background. Interestingly, these same themes are reflected in Paul Dienach's diary. It seems likely that Dienach's book was crafted by Papahatis as an intellectual exercise and exploration of human spirituality. The inclusion of sci-fi elements and a love story could be seen as literary devices rather than an attempt to present the events as factual. In the age of the internet, however, where stories can quickly gain traction, it's challenging to ascertain Papahatis's original intent. While it's plausible that he never intended for the narrative to be taken seriously, the nature of the internet era makes it difficult to predict how people might interpret and believe such a tale of a time-traveling coma patient. Thank you for watching another episode of Voyager. While you're still here, click the video on your screen to see more mind-blowing videos like this one.